Before beginning, check out the case of The Littlest Umbrella. 2 comic books associated with this, one message: we can defy gatekeepers. We're on our quest for, well, a certain 6-figure number that says too, hey, the little guys out here, the ones that you think you can dismiss, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should. But more on that at the end of the video. Hanleia, the name that echoes to eternity when it comes to filings like this. It's really interesting to see how that name was utilized to spark a firestorm that ended up with someone ultimately not only losing their job, but destroying a person's reputation. So what if I told you that that person in direct messages, they directly contradict what they put out there? I mean, you saw what they had to say about him being a certain type of, well, P to the E, you know how that's going to go. But what if I told you that they said, hey, I don't know anything about that. In fact, the only reason that I came forward was because the guy was incredibly rude to staff. So hey there. So today we are talking about this name. Again, if you go back and look in the filings for the big Mignogna lawsuit, it'll come up often. This is the name that supposedly prompted an investigation. What's interesting is if you go back, say we file back through a lot of the statements back when, you'll notice that that status is indeed tagged there. You'll find it, and it'll be tagged in on the day that KICKVIC arises. And this, it goes in for a lot of stuff too. They were heavily involved in burning someone down. I mean, they were directly connected to not only the origin, but to a lot of the folks out there. But what's interesting, are there other things out there too? Like this, for example. This, it's selections. Again, I want to be clear in that. We'll jump around in this, but it's selections from conversation. This was provided to me at one time by Supergirl, and for the longest time it had interest, but no meaning. I mean, you had no attachment. But now, I mean, when you're talking about the person again that sparks this maelstrom, maybe we should go back and visit them. I mean, one of the things that's interesting that I'll skip ahead just to give you a little preview, for example, when you look at a lot of these statements here, you can see, I jumped the gun. I didn't really think about what I was saying. ANN and all of those folks, I don't have anything to do with them. In fact, I'm a critic of them. I didn't look into it. Again, I jumped the gun. Interesting. So let's get in here. Listen, I don't know who you are, but I've been told you're talking about me and claiming I'm part of some conspiracy. I'm not. I just saw people mention creeps in the industry and offer Vic's name. I didn't have any interesting experiences. It was the fact that people responded to my thread with their own that my tweet blew up. I have nothing to do with the creation of the hashtag. I didn't know Mara's girl, and you can see neither of us follow each other anyway. And I've only been a vocal critic of ANN, spreading my name around when I just responded to what was already brewing, and people coincidentally jumping on mine has led me to getting a ton of. So you see that it cuts away a little bit here, but you see them accept this. If somebody that basically you haven't talked to before, they hit you up on Twitter, you have to accept that conversation. So then they're asked, you've been talking about Vic more than a dozen times since 2013. Can you tell me why you've been talking about him if he never hurt you? He never hurt me this way or anything. He was just incredibly rude to staff to the extent that we asked to not have him return. I never claimed he did anything to me. So you see that claim that pops up. The one, again, if we go back and we look at, it's buried right here. We can see this is the one that Funimation says that they investigated. This one. So, I mean, when you're thinking about their claim, yeah, I didn't claim that. Only they did claim that, didn't they? So, continuing on here. Listen, I don't want anything to do with this. I've gone out of my way to block and try to mute anything because of threats I've received. I've been doxxed. They talk about that. Then, well, you can understand why I want out. If Vic is innocent of the severe crimes, then good. Let him be. Let's go. Let's see. Right here, they talk about, letting him go. And yet, again, go back to that. Well, if we could get him tried there. Please tell me the year so I can look into it for you. Your post is the reason Mars Girl started the hashtag. It doesn't change that bad behavior to staff is the reason that I didn't want him at mine. I don't even live in the same country anymore. So, again, bad behavior. Bad behavior is the reason I brought that up. And yet, I know it's okay. No, it was going to be brought up anyway. So, people were going to be bringing it up, but I just jumped the gun. There it is. So they were going to bring it up anyway. Now, I wonder, with that statement, is that just an indication of, well, this would have happened anyhow, or is there more nefarious purpose there? It was going to happen anyway. I knew that for a fact. I just jumped out there, and, well, I'm the one that got that Twitter clout. So, Lindsay, they're talking about A&N staff followed me, and I followed back, but I didn't recognize her name prior to that. Literally half of A&M and have blocked me. Thank you for telling me that. Sorry, I know this is a lot, but your post is one of the main factors to start this, whether you meant to or not. A&N got the proof they needed. Please tell me something. I can make people leave you alone. So they put out an event staff here. Here's the proof I staffed cons. I prefer you not post publicly. So there's their proof that they actually staffed cons. Okay, so Vic was rude at a con. All right. So all of that stuff that burned him down, well, again, based on that thing right there. Nice to know, huh? I still think there was an investigation that determined his guilt. I still think, but you didn't know, did you? I don't think it was my tweets. I think it was industry people speaking up. Well, we know different now. Your tweets are the reason they say that they looked in because you tagged in a certain word there, a word that made them pay attention. But continuing, I can't sit here and say that if he's 100% did criminal wrongdoing, but I believe it doesn't have to be creepy and a fireable offense. It doesn't have to be creepy. Man, this stuff, when you read through it, okay. So it's okay. He may have not done anything criminal, but, well, it doesn't really have to be. Remember, the court of public opinion. We saw that with everyone from Ron Toy to other people bringing up that wording. We're not talking about a court of law. We're talking about a court of public opinion. It would have blown up without me. I'm an irrelevant player in this by mere chance. Yep, that's why you keep popping up in everything. I don't want to have anything to do with this further. I don't gain anything from this, quite the reverse. If anyone does benefit, it's people monetizing YouTube videos. They hate the spotlight that's been showcasing this behavior. In fact, look at the way that some of these people have been reacting lately. I mean, I would defer you to some of the craziness out there. But yeah, look at the way that they react. Now, there's a second part out here. So we have another message that goes out. Hello again. This is a functionally dead account, but I'm incredibly curious as to what you're trying to claim. I, in good faith, gave you proof that I wanted nothing more to do with Vic and that I'm not part of some conspiracy with A&N or Mars Girl or anyone. I stopped talking about him publicly for likely over a month. I deleted tweets when people were using them to attempts to dox people, as well as to no longer be part of anything and instead let both sides deal with their own issues, something I publicly stated. I stated, too, that I knew screenshot existed already, so it wasn't as if I was hiding information on that. I deactivated my Twitter when my family's personal information was posted for their own safety. So, you claim to be against doxing and want to help against any sort of doxing, including against Monica. I claimed that a public figure was rude, to which he himself admitted to claims he was, though giving his own explanation, claiming it had to do with contracts. I gave you evidence as to why I thought he was homophobic. So, there were statements of that there, and gave evidence and stated that it was a matter of opinion and that others were free to disagree. I stated that if he isn't found guilty of criminal wrongdoing, then of course he shouldn't be charged, and stated that false accusations are of course wrong. So what exactly changed, I might ask? So again, again, you see them coming in, wanting to do more damage control because their name keeps appearing. Why? Because again, you see how integral that was in setting off this firestorm. That's something to keep in mind here. You should watch Recato Law. The rudeness did not get Vic fired. This is not on me. I'm sorry. The lawyer found your screenshots months ago and turned them in. Even deleting your account, Twitter will keep your tweets for up to 8 years. They may ask you about your tweets. You're not part of a conspiracy, but you helped ANN start one. I didn't hide anything, they go on. I know rudeness did not get him fired. However, I did not personally accuse him of anything but. Yeah, I did not personally accuse him. Again, why are you employing a known? A known. That means, when you tag that in, that is an accusation you threw out there. You talked about a lot of other stuff too. I, in good faith, believe accusations. It is my legal truth. Yeah, that's not a good legal truth there. Someone just throws out something. I could say something about you. Is that a legal truth then? I wonder. I, in good faith, criticized fake accusations. I only accused a public figure of things he himself confessed to and would have dozens of witnesses from said occurrences. But that's exactly the thing. I only personally accused him of rudeness, something that did not get him fired. Everything else was good faith believing others with examples at hand. I did not state he had committed any sort of until others came forward. I stated that I had read that he was creepy, which is absolutely true and provable. Again, look at that. Look at that there. As I said, I have no interesting testimonies. I was asked questions by ANN Bamboo. So ANN did hit them up for that because they wanted some of that testimony. They were hitting up just randos out there. That's another thing about ANN. ANN just randomly hits up people saying, hey, you made a claim out here. Do you want to put something on the record? Would you like to make a claim? That's really not good sourcing, is it? But to the knowledge, none of it was used, at least nothing recognizable in the article. The censored picture on Kiwi Farms is not me. That's not my hair. And I was in a Naruto cosplay the time I met him as a fan. The only time I believe I contacted Lindsay via DMs was long after things were published. I stated time and again that I didn't start anything. I was following a conversation that was already happening. Yes, I tweeted about him before, but maybe a handful of conversations in years, usually only when in relevant conversations because it was something frequently mentioned. So this person, they saved that. They had been talking about him since 2013 and trying to trigger something. They wanted somebody to go in and they wanted somebody to do something. But again, in the aftermath, in the afterglow of all those embers, they don't want it anymore. They don't want it. The responses to my tweets with actual accusations were why it blew up. In my tweet, I explicitly stated that I thought it would have no impact on his career. Oh, so you threw out that specific word. You knew people were pushing it, but you didn't think it would impact him, right? When it was starting to seem like it would, it was only because others with accusations or in power started talking about it. So again, blame other people out there. Blame other people for the firestorm. Blame them. Even though you directly triggered this thing that cost a person their job, that cost a person their reputation. Good way there. There are hundreds of people who actually created accusations. I like that word there, hundreds. Why exactly would everyone go after nobody who claimed no experience other than rudeness, defended his right to Christian panels, and shut down that argument against him when it was brought up in my thread, and that has no real power to do anything and was in the end only a coincidental pawn? I am absolutely not happy with how certain people on quote-unquote my side handled this unprofessionally. I have nothing to do with them. I want nothing to do with this show and have completely distanced myself from it weeks ago. If they are, in fact, lying, they are absolutely in the wrong and would be liable. Everything else is a matter of personal truth, opinion, and perspective. Look at this. Can you imagine this bomb going off in your Twitter account, too? Now, I also know Twitter has my tweets. I know they have been archived, screenshot, created. I publicly stated this as soon as I took things down. I deleted my Twitter because people were going through personal photos way back. They even went through old photos from 2013, potentially putting them in danger as well, which, of course, that sucks, right there. I always hate that move. That's the problem with personal accounts. That's a problem with, if they're out there, they're public, that happens. But when we're looking at the rest of this, yeah. But please try to keep my name out of your mouth. This is absolutely ridiculous. Keep my name out of your mouth. Keep my name out of your mouth, So, you see it go forward. Here's Ricada there. I took it down before then in late February before he was talking about this stuff. Yeah, so there's another thread there. Now, like I said, you go in, you see all of this set up. There's multiple items that bring them up in this. There's multiple things. There's more of that too. But you get the idea of how all of this comes together. You see what they said here. This was one of their direct things that led to the hashtag. You can see that. Stop lying about and leave him alone, And while you're at it, stop telling your brainwash, I can't stop what I'm not doing. Okay, so they wanted to distance there. But like I said, you see so much of that. They got in contact with so much. And not only that, but you see them celebrating a con dropping somebody. Wow, I'm glad they responded there. I'm glad that con dropped him. Again, you see so much impact coming from this. And yet, of course, what you see in the aftermath was, I jumped the gun on it. All I was claiming was rudeness. Everything else, I have no personal attachment to. So really, when we're looking at this, I'm curious, Sony. I'm curious, Funny. What exactly do you think about that? You have used this as a battering ram to knock down the doors of somebody's career and their reputation. But really, what does that mean? So anyhow, you give me your thoughts on this. What does that say to you? So if you like this content, want to help the channel out, a few ways to do so. Patreon, PayPal, the Case of the Littlest Umbrella. This is an all-ages Lovecraftian tale, plus there's another comic book talking about the satirization of the insanity that we've seen with comic books recently. It's been interesting to look at all of this, too, the craziness that has revolved around that. I've talked about what's come from this, but yeah, we've had doxing now included, all because of success, all because people want to gatekeep, and they want to keep you out. They want to keep you in your place. Well, people send messages, and one of those messages right back at that is no. I don't think we're going to do that. I don't think we're going to do that at all. So, you want to check that out? Also, you can check out our Etsy store. We have things like the deposition of the Littlest Umbrella. These are 2 prints that you'll end up with here. Plus, I always add in something extra. I always think that's pretty entertaining. But leave me your comments on the stuff that we talked about, those messages. I wonder, when you look at that, what do you think? What do you see in that? Also, I want to end by saying this. So many voice actors, so many companies, they're leaving us behind. All of us. Fandom. They want to put you in your place. They hire people that'll do this, voice actors and on, and then they empower other people to attack. But you know what? We have the power there. You have the power to make endeavors possible. You've made this one possible, so I thank you. I want to say that I appreciate you. Don't want to be like those people. So again, closing, thank you. I appreciate you. We'll do this again really soon.